namaskar, good afternoon, good morning, or maybe even good evening, in whichever part of the world you are joining us from. My name is Deepakar Khemani, and along with our co-founder, Payal Irani, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 301st. Yes, we just completed our 300th milestone last Sunday. Today is our 301st Sunday non-stop Sunday Bloom Talk Show. Continuing the series of calling guests from different spheres of life, from different professions, different vocations, different lifestyles, different thought processes. In the journey of 300 episodes, we have met speakers, coaches, trainers, doctors, nurses, athletes, politicians, healers, you name it, and every sort of person, depending upon what he or she does, has graced our platform. Continuing that series, we have with us Shri Kapil Chhabra ji. Kapil Chhabra ji is part of our PSAI network, a senior person who was along with me in our old BNI days, and he will be talking to us about something which is different, something which is rarely spoken about. Over to you, Payal. Would you like to introduce him and take the show ahead?
Thank you, Deepak sir. Kapil sir, please tell us what you do, why you do.
Okay, thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. Uh, I would say today I call myself a seeker because I'm on a journey to learn what I did not learn in college or in corporate life. So I call myself a seeker. I got sort of attracted towards something called as Samkhya. In English, it is called Samkhya. In Hindi, it is called Sankhya. It is one of the earliest philosophies of darshan of pre-Vedic times, and it has its own, it came much before many other things came into, and it's also mentioned in Gita as one of the key philosophies of the world. So, and when I was thinking about it, there's one term very often used in our ancient wisdom that is called drishta. And that's when I thought about how that translates to the modern world. So today conversation is about talking of ancient wisdom in a way, but in a modern language. And certainly it is also said that there are a lot of interpretations by the reader and the speaker. So I'm sharing a perspective I've created by reading multiple books and as I've experienced it. So it's a combination of experience, reading, and an inclination to combine ancient wisdom with modern perspectives. And the whole child, so that's where I'm here today. Just to summarize, I have over 30 years in the corporate, but what is relevant today is what I've been trying to learn for the last 10 years. From a background perspective, I'm an engineer. I've done international projects, spoken at international papers. So that's a little bit about me. And today what I do is I call myself as holistic leadership advisor, human catalyst, and I'm a professional speaker. So that's in brief about.
Thank you, Kapil sir. So today's topic is very important, and you describe yourself as a worldly monk. What does
Yes.
that identity represent?
Well, about 10 years back, I went into a session where we were learning how to coach with the spirit in mind. So we call it the coaching the spirit. That was learning session I was in. And as part of the session, they say future, talk to your future self, and then write down what you believe your future self told you. And when I wrote that paper, it was multiple things what I would be in the future. But what the future self told me on that day in that state was the monk in the world. And that prompted me to write a book called The Worldly Monk. And interestingly, The Worldly Monk started when when I started this book, I was trying to write a sort of a corporate management book. But then I realized that it ended up a philosophy. So it's a synthesis of a philosophy that I've learned over many years. And I've attempted to bring it to the modern context. So it has chapters on holistic health, it has chapters on consciousness. So that's how it evolved, but it evolved. So I don't call myself the author of this book. I call myself the instrument who wrote this book because it's changed, shaped by it. So because then I chose the title, The Worldly Monk. So I'm trying to make it a moniker also because it synthesizes a lot what I intend to do on a wide spectrum.
Very interesting, Kapil. So thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
Yeah.
How can someone begin their inner journey while handling every pressure and with their responsibilities?
That exactly I think we're going to talk today. But there is something like what Steve Jobs said, that dots connect in hindsight. So one, yes, there has to be internal zeal for it, craving for it. You start craving for it. And then you find something, somebody who guides you, and you start, certain things start appearing to you that takes you on the path you intend to. But I think today's conversation will largely focus on this. But there's one point I wanted to appreciate. Like coincidentally, about maybe a year back, Bloom started that initiative of writing a book, everybody contribute a chapter. Right? And one day I was thinking what chapter I should contribute to. And it became forgive. Forgiveness as the superpower of human being. And in that process, what I also realized when I started writing that chapter is that forgiveness is the gateway of wisdom. Forgiveness is the gateway for evolution. And that sort of ties to your question also, that I've realized that forgiveness is the foundation on which you build your peace. Because forgiveness is not about uh, saying other person is right or wrong. It is about telling yourself that whatever the other person is, I'm detaching myself from that element. And that brings you peace. And incidentally, then I wrote another book, Forgive to Rise, From Burden to Brilliance. And this spoke about that why forgiveness is important. And forgiveness is just not one event. It is our limiting beliefs. So forgiving yourself for your limiting beliefs. So it's not only forgiving others, forgiving yourself also. Or detaching yourself from the past which is not relevant to you anymore. And then being in present and building a brighter future. But the only thing we can do is be in present. So I hope I gave a long answer to your question, but probably that covers your basic question.
Yes, I have a question on forgiveness, but before that, we already have two authors present today for the book, one of the chapters which you contributed from the Bloom, Born to Bloom. So, for our audiences today who don't know, we had launched a book called Born to Bloom on our 250th episode last year in June. And yes, here it is, Born to Bloom. And those who haven't read that, please buy this book on Amazon. Beautiful, 15 souls, 15 authors have written heart-wrenching stories about their vulnerability and their personal stories. So on forgiveness, Kapil sir, can forgiveness really transform professional journey besides personal journey?
I think when I wrote that chapter, Bloom book, Born to Bloom, I think I was totally confined to my professional journey because I realized that many years back, it happened to me that everything was good, but somewhere something hurt me. And I focused so much on that hurt that I lost the goodness part of everything. So, and part of it was ego. So the hurt was less about what somebody did, but how it impacted my ego. So that's where I realized that so professionally, like, there are many things happen to us, and we focus our energies there. How much more wonderful it would be if we could remove that weight or the burden of what is not relevant. Because most of the time, somewhere I was reading yesterday, 90% of the fears are imagined. 90% of the hurts are imagined. How much better we would be if we can remove that weight and get ahead. That's why I called it Forgive to Rise, because I said once you unburden yourself from that weight which is not relevant, how much lighter you become, and then you are ready to rise. So
When we talk of ego and hurt, as humans, we are bound to get hurt. And for me, this question to you is, what is one belief, limiting belief, people must let go when they evolve consciously? So when they know that they have to let go their ego, they have to let go the hurt. So what is that one limiting belief they can remove?
I think if I have to think of one, the one that comes to my mind is believing that everybody is focused on you. I'll give two examples. We drive in a big car, and the person sitting inside that car looks outside with a very different posture. But maybe the fact is, nobody worries whether you're in a big car or a small car. It's just a matter of transportation. And what they remember is how you interacted with them. So, same way, again, there is something said that, and okay, I'll put it little differently there. We, and that's a very fundamental part, what I realize is that belongingness is very fundamental nature of a human being. That's why we are probably called social animals. Now, what happened is the moment we are coming out in this world, that cord is cut. And then we are searching for that connection. And in that search, we transform that search as attention and validation. And when I looked at that word attention, I said, oh, even as a child, the child tries to draw attention. The child does something good, a nice painting, nice something, or the child gives a smile to attract others or to draw attention. Then when I got deeper, it felt so simple that crying is controlled. Comes accomplish something, attainment is Ratsic. We're doing something to draw attention. And smiling is to connect. And that's sattvic. So all the three gunas are exhibited in every person and every child. It just depends what is the predominant guna that is affecting us. Does that answer your question?
Yes, very rightly said. And
Right.
this is leading to spirituality.
Right.
And in today's world, when we talk about spirituality, is spirituality consciously picked up by today's world, by today's leaders, or humanity is enough? Being human is enough.
I would say that being human, truly being human, is a step. Like forgiveness is the first step. Then being human is the second step. Only then we can evolve further. I normally say, one of my endeavors or dreams is just if every human being can be more human, how much better this world can be. Everybody has freedom. It should not just infringe on somebody else. So, spirituality, I very much distinguish spirituality from any word called religion. The spirituality is from inside. It's a human evolution. Now, the
Beautifully
challenge is,
said.
pardon?
Beautifully expressed, Kapil sir.
Right.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. So, now the relevance of spirituality in today's world, I would put it a little differently first. What I say is that the difficulties of the world are not because of the bad people. The difficulties of the world are because of inaction by the good people. So now I don't want to, but what happened is that we gradually started shifting too much over the Rajasic part. So some people did not move to Rajasic; they remained in Tamasic because of laziness. But the expression of, so again, go back to CAC, control, attainment, connection. Tamas, Rajas, Sat. Now what happens is most of the framework became attainment oriented. Now many years back, I remember there was a conversation with some business leaders who were a little different, and they were discussing, and they said one of the key difficulties that happen in our education system that we said the purpose of business is to get more profit or benefits for the shareholders. Whereas if we go back to the ancient times, what even we truly understand in that forum, they also said the purpose of business is to provide benefits to the stakeholders. If you deprive one section of the stakeholders and give more benefit to the other section of the stakeholders, then you are creating a state of lack of equilibrium. So I'm not saying everybody has to be given same. That's why I distinguish between equilibrium and balance. And what I initially said is Woman has freedom, but it should not infringe on somebody else. If everybody is careful and being human, things will be very different.
Agree. There has to be equilibrium in this world.
Right.
What advice would you give to someone struggling for their purpose in life?
Somewhere when I was reading Gita commentary, something struck me there, which I remember. It said that the purpose of human life is to do good for others. And if you do that, your purpose will find you. So whatever comes to you as a basic thing that you want to do good for the world, if you consistently keep doing it, your purpose will come and find you. So sometimes I worry about the motivational speaking industry because, again, finding purpose became an attainment,
Yes.
right? Rather going deep inside yourself and let your spirit speak to you. And it would happen by chance.
It's about diving deep inwardly rather than looking outwardly.
Yeah.
So normally what happens at the end of the show, I do rapid fire questions. Now Deepak sir has given me the chance to start today. So I have a set of rapid fire questions. So I'll start with it and then I'll hand over to you, Deepak sir.
Mm.
One word that defines humanity today.
Compassion.
One word that defines the humanity we should aspire to.
Pardon?
As humans, one word that defines humanity we should aspire to.
I'll say human, which is Humene. If humans are more human, the world would be a much different place.
Silence or conversation?
Pardon?
Silence or conversation?
Silence of conversation.
Silence or conversation?
I'm not getting the question, sorry.
What would you prefer, to be in a silent space or to be conversing with other people?
I prefer silence and listening.
Meditation or manifestation?
Meditation. Because meditation gives you the pathway to manifest.
Wonderful.
Success or significance?
Significance.
A book everyone should read once.
I would say that people should read ancient wisdom, if I have to say that. Because whatever we today write, if we go from a human perspective, much of it is derived from them.
One habit that transformed your life.
Curiosity.
A leader you deeply admire.
Nelson Mandela.
What is harder, forgiving oneself or forgiving others?
What is, again, ask the question?
What is harder, forgiving yourself or forgiving others?
Forgiving yourself is hard.
One emotion the world needs more of.
Love.
Mountains or oceans?
Ocean.
Morning routine or night reflection?
Night reflections.
Your definition of inner peace in one word.
Definition of inner peace in one word: detachment.
One thing corporations must unlearn.
One thing corporates should unlearn is too much focus on gold.
One message for the next generation.
It is the responsibility for every one of us to leave this planet in a better shape than we inherited.
Kapil sir, when future generations look back at this era, what do you hope they will say humanity chose to evolve into?
I think today, if we look at it, and I said it somewhere else also, the entire humanity seems to be chasing targets, gains, but that's only a very small portion of our human. Like it is said, that when you are at your end point, the only regrets are good things you could have done but did not. All your attainment, everything becomes non-transferable past, at least from your own perspective.
With this, I end my sets of questions. Thank you, Kapil sir, for patiently conversing with us. Over to you, Deepak sir.
Thank you, Payal. And one thing has to be admired: the way Payal has evolved, especially in asking these rapid fire questions. She comes up with these questions, these one-worded this or that or these options. In the last few years, this has now become the highlight of the Sunday Bloom Talk Show. And when Kapil sir, she asked you which book should people read, if I was you, I would have said they should read my book. You already have multiple books to your name. I would have picked up and said, read my book first.
I
Wonderful.
was tempted to, but I stopped myself.
Thank you. Thank you. Now you have a small presentation for us. Why don't you go ahead and present it for us and the viewers? Go ahead.
Sure. Just give me 1 minute.
Sure. No, it is gone. You may have to redo it again.
Yeah, I'm doing it again. Yeah.
Yes, we can see it. Go ahead.
It is. So as you can see, and I'm very happy we started with different set of conversations, because it goes down to the same thing. I will be answering it now in more definitive way. So that's what we said when I looked at that Samkhya wisdom, or the most of the ancient wisdom. There's a very heavy, reflection on drishta, and that's what this conscious observer means. And my belief and understanding is that if we can imbibe that drishta in ourselves, that's the way we can differentiate as a human being and go much beyond. So our focus today, this is not a presentation. This is only a sort of a reference point to have a conversation. This is a little bit about me. I will not spend time here. I'll go straight to it. So, what I believed is, and we discussed earlier also, that it is the consciousness is the differentiator we human beings have. And as we go up in awareness, when we can forgiveness, what forgiveness does to us is forgiveness not only includes actions or hurts, it also includes limiting grief as sanskaras. So as we are able to dissolve the inertia of conditioning, we can move towards a more purposeful evolution. And that's what I reflected as conscious observer. And that title comes from a journey from burden to brilliance. That is, when you forgive others, you reclaim your bandwidth. And then you cultivate your thinking and evolve legacy. So when I looked at the layers of the conscious observer, it came down to being, doing, having. And it has to be in that sequence. Again, in today's modern world, the challenge has been we are thinking of having, doing, being. What it means is, if I will get this, then I will be happier. If I'll have a bigger car, I will be happier. But if we talk of containment, then it is we need to start with the being. Deserve what you intend to have. And then your actions are in context with that. So then when I thought deeper, I realized that as a human being, there are three things that make our inner being, that expresses outside. And first is when we forgive, we remove the clutter, we leave the burden. That's when we reclaim our mind space. That can ignite our actuators, our doing parts, and intensify clarity. Think edge, proactive reflection, expanding our mental reach. Somewhere it is said, imagination is bigger than knowledge. It is the imagination where all the innovations happen. Certainly, you have to be disciplined of understanding what you need to know more, and that's where the curiosity comes in. And value edge, as we talked earlier, as human beings, we need to be nurturing everything else. And there's an element of unconditional contribution. And if you go back to Gita, it said, कर्म कर, फल की चिंता मत कर, और फल का विजन ना होना should not be a reason for inaction. So that's unconditional contribution, that you need to do your duty, irrespective whether you see the reward or not. And that leads to purposeful. So cognitive edge, this is very simple in today's world. You see on a computer, there are multiple threads. And as we open more threads, the RAM becomes slower. Same as with the human mind. It has got limited space. If we have keep the weight of so many hertz, and we said 90% of the hertz, 90% of the fears are imagination, our brain is crowded. We don't have an opportunity to think through. And hertz we keep as I'd say 5 years back, somebody did this to me and I'm still hurt. That person is not seen. We don't know anything. And are limiting belief. I can't do it. So that's what, if we remove all those 90% of the imagined fears, hurts, and our distraction of looking at multiple things at the same time, then we claim our mind space or the bandwidth. And then our actuators are learning, insight, and discovery. In my book, I've written exploration as one of the key elements of holistic health. Because if you don't have the imagination, then it has to be thought through. And as your clarity intensifies, you have sharper focus. Because you are free to do more, it unlocks your potential and thus invents your brilliance. Think Edge, that's the driver of innovation, curiosity, solutioning, right intent. So my intent is not to complete the presentation. I expect it to be more interactive. So any questions anytime are very welcome. Or I'll complete it and then people can take notes and then we can quickly go back to the question answer mode. So I will not spend much time in speaking to the presentation. My intent was not to take too much time here. So think Edge, again, I realized it's my own journey. I said to think, we need to be having the courage to think. And primarily curiosity, and then the ability to find solution, not be a problem solver rather than the problem stater. And having the right intent, even when it is uncomfortable. So most of the time, challenge is that we compromise. That inhibits our courage. So courage is acting in spite of fear. Kindness, we said compassion earlier. One thing, so compassion can be exhibited as generosity and empathy. And I said the gateway to wisdom is forgiveness. And if containment comes when we have gratitude, what is available to us. And that also opens up space for learning. These are said the pillars of the humanistic exploration. Value, we've talked about four Purusharthas. Righteousness is the first one. And so initial days in ancient wisdom, the dharma did not mean religion, it meant righteous actions. So, and then stewardship, we are the custodian of the resources that are available to us today. And certainly, legacy is beyond wealth. Today, we remember those people more who did something bigger than, who created an impact which can be remembered for ages. And those impacts can be continued. So that I call as the value edge. So if your being is having these three things, then you have a human edge that can take you beyond the AI era. Conscious doing is consonance. And consonance is when your outer actions mirror your inner being. Most of the stress, most of difficulties are because there's a lack of consonance or alignment between who we are and what we intend to do. And enablers of consonance are. So again, it comes from that book. I've written it here. It is first you need to forgive so that you can have space to aspire and then to rise. Conscious having, I think it's an ultimate dream for every human being, peace, fulfillment, and legacy. So that's in brief was the presentation. And just to sum it up, we human beings are a drop in the ocean. The current is the doing actions or the doing we have. And when we can merge in that ocean of peace, that the entire ocean becomes ours. So with that, thank you. So let's explore more questions. So I didn't want it to, because most of it I think was well connected. The questions were already there. So I just, because it was there, I just walked through it. But I would let people come and ask questions. It's just to give some direction. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, if before me going ahead and asking some questions, I think the question answer of Payal and this presentation, anybody in the audience who wants to say anything, wants to comment, has a question, please unmute yourself and ask Kapilji right now. Go ahead.
Kapilji, Satish here. Yeah, thank you so much. And Bloom Talk, thank you so much. One of the best. I would definitely say this is one of the best, top in the top. Kapilji, I don't know if it is a question. Maybe I am not framing it right, but while you are actually going through it, how does the perception impact on the consciousness?
Now, the challenge is that how the perception is internalized and processed in the mind. Again, comes back, is it being processed as a reactiveness or as a responsiveness? Like you see something, again, you make an interpretation of it. Your perception is an interpretation. Now, whether that interpretation is resolved through more processing in the mind and you respond to it, or you react in the first instance what you interpret.
Perfect.
So,
if I can take the liberty of asking a couple of more.
Yeah.
You have been talking about this Samkhya. The first thing is, I'm really waiting for you to do a workshop, and I will be the first person to come and join there. I really want to know what is the Samkhya and more into it. And more I listen to you, Kapilji. You have been talking about ancient wisdom, and you've been doing a lot of research.
Right.
The question is, should ancient wisdom be learned and adapted to the modern world, or should we probably keep the sanctity of the ancient wisdom and then analyze only the disparity? Is my question clear? Or
I'll put it as a question that there's no user manual to raise a child, but we all raise our children. Right? So when we talk of ancient wisdom, we are probably referring to something which looks very common sense when we go deeper. So we're not talking of rituals.
yes,
We're talking of the eternal principle of being human.
essence.
So the humanity, so ask your heart, isn't it better to be a better human? If the answer is yes, then we are not talking of any differences there. We are saying just being human. Religion brought rituals. Spirituality did not.
Yes.
Philosophy did not.
Perfect. And one thing probably to the viewers, like indirectly what we are actually speaking is neuroplasticity.
Exactly.
This is something which yeah. So if I can control into that field, luckily, I'm part of a group called neurobehavioral humanism, where we are bringing the exact what you're talking about into neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
So if I control my thoughts, I can control who I am, and
Right.
I can control what I can think and when I can think and something like that. So your reference to Samkhya And your reference to ancient wisdom towards neuroplasticity is something really awakening, and it was revealing. And I really thank you for giving us a insight into it. And I really want to know more and more about it. And I'm sure I will connect with you after this.
Yeah. Because it is said, Jaisi Manusthiti, Vaisi Parasthiti.
Yes.
Now, today we can call it neuroplasticity. But those words were written thousands of years back.
Yes. Yes, I will definitely connect with you because my next book is neuroplasticity. So I'm sure, I have a lot to talk to you. And thank you, Payal, and thank you, Deepak ji. Best.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Great question, Satish. I mean, I'm just thinking for the past 2.5, 3 months since we've ever met you, every Sunday Bloom Talk Show, the subject is revolving around your topic, your expertise, your niche. I don't know why. I don't know why this is happening, how this is happening, but it seems to revolve around what we spoke about, what we learned when we met, and then this is just a step forward. Every Sunday we are moving ahead in that direction. So whether this is destined, whether this is neurons, they are connecting at some place and they are making this happen, God only knows. But wonderful questions and great answers, Kapilji. Let me ask you this question, Kapil sir. You said that you worked in corporate for 30 years. You're trying to bring in ancient wisdom. Today, if you want to send out some sort of a message to leaders, whether they are corporate leaders, whether they are, leaders who are leading teams, even politicians who are leaders, who are running countries and, cities and states, what do they need to change? What habits needs to change? What processes needs to change? How does one realize or understand or come to grips with that whatever we were doing for past so many years and decades clearly is not working, especially in the age of AI?
I think I'll take the answer a little broader. What can take humanity forward? So from that perspective, I think the one thing happen is leader have to become from self-centered to other-centered. That means we talk of freedom, we talk of gains. You are entitled to your gains, you are entitled to your freedom, but it's not be impacting others or, sort of taking away from others what is their due. So leadership is about moving from self-centeredness to other-centeredness. And I've read, in fact, in this book, I've talked about conscious leadership ladder. And what I've said there is, you start leadership about being an expert. Then you become sort of relationship management. And then, like Maslow's theory, I've gone beyond that. So I've said self-actualization is conscious leader level 4. And I've given 7 ladders. And the next step is, it emphasizes more on being other-centered. Care for the surroundings. Today, business goals many times don't care for the environment. And sometimes, honestly, sometimes I question people. Not question, I can't. But just to put a thought perspective, I said we'd be very willing to spend 1 lakh rupee on a birthday celebration for a kid. But if somebody says, please give 10,000 rupees for what? Rainwater harvesting. Not everybody is that comfortable. So I really ask, do you really love your kids? Are you leaving the planet in a better shape so they can breathe in a better air?
Yeah.
So leadership is about nurturing.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned that leadership is about nurturing, and nowadays we hear that leadership has evolved, and there is this term which is now almost being discussed everywhere in every topic. Whenever we talk about leadership, people are talking about servant leadership, and
Yeah.
I have tried to understand what does that word mean. In my mind, it's an oxymoron, but the fact that you are talking about leadership, and the previous question was also about leadership, tell us what servant leadership actually means, and isn't it what you are already supposed to be? It is some word which has now been created. A leader, in my understanding, needs to be strong, also needs to be humble. A leader
Many years back, there
is
was a
not
book.
only leading, but
Yeah.
also seeing to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So many years back, there was a book called,
No,
I
no, please
don't
go ahead.
remember. I'm not remembering the book, but it was on a leadership level. That article came in Harvard Business Review also. I don't remember if it was Jim Collins' book or somebody's book, The Leadership. And what it said is that the interesting part is that level 1 to level 2, the characteristics and the traits of the leadership. And by the time, and the ladder 4 leadership and ladder 5 leadership, they are almost a contrast. But the challenge is you can't get to a level 5 leadership without having level 4. If
Yeah,
you're not a
point is-
performer, if you are not
Yes.
able to lead, arrive goals, you will not reach the top icon. But
Yes.
once you reach the top icon, then it's not about charisma. It's about the building of an organization.
Yeah.
So we have less of level 5 leadership. We have a lot of leaders between level 3 and 4. That's a
We
challenge.
have lots of leaders at lower levels, and somehow many of them are not graduating right up to the top level, where, as you said in one of your slides, it was said the ultimate edge to reduce conditioning, proactively reflect, and pursue collective well-being.
Yes.
Wonderful. Again,
Thank you.
let me open up and ask. Ram Prasad sir is there, Sumer is there, M.K. Sansgiri sir is there, and even Mega. If you are interested, if you have a thought or a comment, you could unmute yourself and ask Kapil sir, or probably type it in the comment section too. Chalo. Till people decide whether they want to ask something or there is a thought. I again want to bring up one thing which you had in your presentation, which said unconditional contribution, giving no expectations and no conditions.
Yeah, I think it,
Would you-
whether we
Yeah.
look at Gita, Karam Kar Fal Ki
Yes.
Chinta Mat Kar. The emphasis is
Correct.
Chinta word. और
Yes.
फल नहीं मिलेगा इसलिए कर्म करना मत छोड़.
Huh.
So the point is you should do your duty,
Yeah.
and or the reason for doing your duty is not should the motivation of the reward. You should
Yeah.
do your duty,
Yes.
and lack of motivation should not be the reason not to do it.
Lack of motivation should not be the reason. Indeed. Well said. Well
Right.
said. Wonderful. Also, during at the beginning when Payal was speaking with you, you said that motivational speakers ka shayad kaam dhanda band ho jayega. Probably they will have to reinvent themselves. So let's say today you are called to give a motivational session to an audience. How would
Right.
you sound different than your average motivational speaker who is available dime a dozen, especially on LinkedIn?
Okay, I will not. One thing is I will not compare. They have their own expertise.
Yeah.
It is what is the people, but how it lands in the people, even
Yeah.
if they're correct. So
Yes.
it's like a half truth. They say, follow your passion.
Yes.
That's one of the major things I've seen, not in the limited corporate world or elsewhere, but in some large sections, I see follow your
Yeah.
passion.
Yes.
Right. Great. Yes, follow your passion.
Hmm.
But passion without professionalism will not get you there.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
when your passion, follow your passion is great, but then you need persistence and professionalism.
Yes.
Like I'll share one example with you. There was somebody very successful. Maybe I can count them in the top 10 personalities of the world. So that is
Wow.
it. Could be. So I had a chance to ask that person a question. What is the secret of your success?
Mm.
And the setting was a little personal, so I will not go after the setting. So he said, Kapil, I will say two things. One, I'm always before time for every meeting.
Wonderful.
And he said, today I'm also before time. That's why we are getting this moment to talk to each other.
Yes.
Right? And what happens is because I'm before everybody else in the meeting room, I'm already thinking the outcome I want out of that meeting.
Yeah.
Whereas people who came rushing in, they did not have the opportunity to think how to direct that.
Yeah.
That is one. Two, he said, Kapil, we do what we love to do. Now, those days that Hajmola ad was very popular. Hajam nahi. So he was tall gentleman. So I looked at him. My expression was, Baat hajam nahi hui. And then he completed. We do what we love, or we start loving what we do. So that's about passion is what you love, fine.
Yeah.
But you have to do so many things
Yes.
along with, and you have to start loving them also.
Yeah.
So
wonderful. Wonderful.
So
there is a question which Satish has asked in the chat, and he says, using the three gunas of Samakhya, is there a way to measure someone's personality, thinking mechanism, or alter it based on these measurements?
I would not say alter it, but yeah, you can get a reflection. In fact, at one point of time, I did created a tool called CAC.
Would you want me?
Pardon? Some.
No. Please go ahead. Please go.
So I had a tool called CAC. I used it in some of my training sessions. So it was that question that in a particular situation, which would be your standard behavior to use? Control, attainment, or connection? So I'm still building on that tool now. That was too, but yes, it can be. And I think some people have done more research on finding, and I've also built something on that. Because
While we are very, very close to 1:30, it's an hour already since we started our 301st episode. It has been a great start after 300 episodes, the first episode after 300. Would you like to officially close?
Yes. Thank you, Kapil sir, for removing your valuable time. And thank you, audiences, for always supporting us for the past 301 weeks. See you all next week on the 302nd Bloom Talk Show. Namaste.
Can I have an opportunity to say thank you?
Please join us all next Sunday. God bless us all till then.
Yes, Kapil
thank
sir.
you.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you, everyone.
It's all your show today. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. It's really a privilege to be able to talk to these people. And also, I'm very grateful for this opportunity because anytime we speak, we are also getting more better clarity about many things. So thank you. And thank you for the very powerful questions from everyone. Thank you so much. And Satish said that he'd like to connect. I'll be happy to connect. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Deep gratitude. Thank you.